I remember her telling her father that it was important for me to be with her now, so when she got where she was going, she knew that I was there for her.
I didn't know that Whitney's relationship was more than just friends till later on in our marriage.
In 2019, Robyn Crawford revealed a secret that Whitney Houston never admitted until she died. A deep secret that'll change how you see their friendship forever. Robyn admitted that she and Whitney were more than just friends. They were intimate lovers.
So having me there as a friend, I would often hear her say, "I don't need any more friends."
Yes.
I mean, these are her words.
But in a world where same-sex love was taboo, they had to bury their controversial love so deep to avoid a scandal.
It was the 80s, and that's how it was. You were either this or that. Women were treated, you couldn't see two of your favorite female artists on the same ticket. That was like a far-fetched dream.
Caught between family expectations, fear of judgment, and an industry that demanded silence, they were forced to hide. Her loved ones disapproved, and the world she worked in wouldn't allow her to be her true self. Let's dive in. Back in the 1980s, being gay or lesbian was not something people talked about openly, especially if you were a famous person. It was even harder if you were a black woman in the spotlight. People judged harshly and had strong opinions about what was normal. Society believed that women should only love men and live a certain way. If someone was different, they were often treated badly or ignored. For Whitney Houston and her close friend Robyn Crawford, this made things very hard. They had a deep love and connection, but they couldn't speak openly about it.
She was awesome. She had this presence that was just like...
They never called each other girlfriend or used words like lesbian or gay. Back then, people were afraid of what others might say or do. So instead of using labels, they just lived their lives quietly, trying to enjoy what they had without the world interfering.
It was the 80s, and that's how it was. You were either this or that. Women were treated, you couldn't see two of your favorite female artists on the same ticket. That was like a far-fetched dream.
Whitney and Robyn met as teenagers in East Orange, New Jersey. Whitney was still in high school, and Robyn was a little older, home from college. They met at a community center, not at a party or club. Their friendship started naturally. Robyn was a basketball star, and Whitney told her that she was a singer.
So you met Whitney when you were teens. How old were you girls?
I had just turned 19, and she was soon to be 17 that summer.
They clicked right away. Robyn said they just became friends, and something special grew out of that friendship. They spent a lot of time together, and after a while, their bond became romantic and physical. But they didn't talk much about what that meant, even to each other. They didn't label it. They were just two young women who cared deeply for one another in a world that didn't accept their love. Their romantic relationship didn't last long, but their friendship lasted for years. Robyn said they didn't even talk about what they were doing or feeling. Maybe they were scared, or maybe they didn't know how to talk about it. Both of them were raised in religious homes. In those homes, people were taught that being gay was wrong. They were scared of judgment and punishment, especially from the people closest to them. That's why Robyn never used the word lesbian in her book. She simply said they lived their lives the best way they could and hoped they could keep it that way forever. But everything started to change when Whitney's music career took off.
Love and affection.
Even when they first met, it was clear that Whitney was going to be a star. Her mother, Sissy Houston, was already a respected singer. And her cousin, Dionne Warwick, was a big name in music. Big music people in New York had already noticed Whitney's amazing voice. At just 19 years old, She signed her first record deal with Arista Records with famous music executive Clive Davis. But with fame came more pressure. Whitney knew the world was watching, and she was told that any news of a same-sex relationship could ruin her public image. That fear led her to make a painful decision. One day after signing her record deal, Whitney went to Robyn's house and told her they needed to stop being physical. She gave Robyn a Bible and said, "This will make our journey harder." She was afraid that if people found out about them, it would be used against her and hurt her career. Whitney wanted success, but she also didn't want to lose Robyn. So they stayed close, but only as friends. That moment hurt Robyn deeply, but she understood. She loved Whitney and wanted to support her, even if it meant hiding their true relationship.
When she said that she did not feel we should be physical any longer because it would only make our path more difficult, that if folks found out about it, that they would use it against us.
As soon as Whitney could afford it, she hired Robyn as her personal assistant. They even moved into an apartment together in Woodbridge, New Jersey. Robyn helped with everything, getting Whitney's clothes ready, managing her time, and making sure things ran smoothly. Whitney's team was small in those early years, and Robyn was always by her side. Whitney's first two albums became huge successes. Songs like How Will I Know,
How will I know? How will I know?
Saving All My Love for You,
So I'm saving all my love for you.
and I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna be.
Made her a global star, but behind all the success, the pressure kept growing. People close to Whitney started becoming uncomfortable with how close she was to Robyn. Her mother, Sissy, especially had a problem with it.
You say, I knew I didn't want Robyn around my daughter, and I told Nippy that. There wasn't much I could do, though. Nippy liked Robyn. She was past the age when I could forbid her from seeing someone. Kids have a mind of their own when they get older. They want to experiment with all kinds of things.
She once told Whitney that their friendship was unnatural. She didn't like how much time they spent together, and even told Robyn not to walk next to Whitney in public. Sadly, Whitney listened to her mother. She didn't stand up for Robyn in public, though she still told her in private, "Robyn, you know I love you immensely." It was like Whitney was living two lives, one for the world and one for herself. When Whitney married Bobby Brown, things got worse. Bobby would sometimes yell at Robyn, and Whitney didn't defend her.
I didn't know that Whitney's relationship was more than just friends till later on in our marriage.
Robyn stayed quiet and tried to support her friend. But in 1988, when Robyn told Sissy that Whitney needed help for her growing drug problem, the family didn't want to hear it. Instead of helping, they started pushing Robyn away. Whitney's father even banned her from business meetings. By 1997, Robyn had been by Whitney's side for nearly 20 years, but she was finally pushed out for good. She wasn't even allowed to go on a tour with Whitney anymore. That's when Robyn decided to walk away.
There was infidelity in the marriage, yes, on both parts.
Whitney and Bobby's relationship was the kind of love that burned fast, burned hot, and left scars. On paper, they got married in 1992. But what followed wasn't a fairy tale. It was chaos, fame, addiction, heartbreak, and a daughter caught in the middle. Their marriage lasted until 2007, but those years were filled with everything from cheating rumors and drug binges to domestic violence. It wasn't just toxic, it was tragic, and the damage didn't stop with them. One story says it all.
I didn't get into really heavy drugs until I met Whitney, but it destroys people.
Bobby Christina, barely a child, had to help her mother to bed one night because Whitney couldn't do it herself. A family member came upstairs and found the room torn apart. Just total disorder. And that scene? That wasn't rare, that was the norm. Whitney's addiction got worse after Bobby Christina was born. So while the world saw a superstar, Bobby saw her mother slipping further away. And no kid should ever have to grow up in that kind of chaos.
And, you know, you have a lot of money. There's so many things you can do. And it's coming at you. Being in the business that we're in, I mean, it just comes at you.
Bobby Boss admitted he tried to shield Bobby from it all. Tried to lock Whitney away in her room to keep her from being around their daughter. But even he knew it was a losing battle. Nobody could police Whitney. He said she did what she wanted. He's opened up about how often Bobby saw them high, how helpless he felt watching his daughter live through something no child should. And years later, he owns that. He said it plainly. They failed her.
Well, breaking news this hour about the death of Whitney Houston's daughter. A medical examiner in Atlanta says Bobby Christina Brown's death was caused by drug intoxication and immersion.
There were fights, loud, ugly, relentless. Bobby would scream that he wanted a divorce, but they never left each other. Not for long. It was that Bonnie and Clyde kind of love, the kind that looks romantic in movies but wrecks you in real life. They stuck together, even when they were tearing each other apart. Now, all that's left are regrets, words they can't take back, moments they can't undo, and a daughter who didn't just witness the pain, she lived it. After Robyn left, her life changed. She moved to a quiet area in New Jersey with her wife, Lisa, and their 2 children. She and Whitney hadn't spoken in several years by the time Whitney passed away in 2012.
A member of Houston's entourage located her body inside this hotel. So far, police and the coroner are refusing to offer details about what may have caused her tragic death.
But Robyn never stopped caring. She told her wife that if Whitney ever showed up at their door, the door must always be open. That shows how deep her love was, even after all the pain. Robyn didn't hold a grudge. She still hoped Whitney would come back one day, not as a star, but as her friend. One day, Robyn read in the National Enquirer that Whitney's father may have hired someone to hurt her, someone to break her kneecaps. It was a shocking thing to read. At that time, Whitney was at the height of her fame. She had just won many awards, including Grammys and American Music Awards. Her song, I Will Always Love You, was everywhere, and she had become one of the biggest stars in the world. But instead of being angry or scared for herself, Robyn thought about Whitney. She was worried about how Whitney must have felt reading that kind of news. That's how deep her care and love went. Even after everything that happened, Robyn didn't blame Whitney. She understood that Whitney was trapped. She had so much pressure on her, from her family, the music industry, and society. She wasn't free to love who she wanted. The world wanted her to be someone she wasn't. And even though it cost them both a lot, Robyn always remembered the good times. She remembered when they were young, fearless, and free. Before the fame, before the pressure, before the world got in the way.
She was awesome. She had this presence that was just like, what's your name? And she said, Whitney Elizabeth Houston.
Oh.
At that time, being openly gay could hurt your career. Record labels and managers wanted their stars to sell records and keep sponsors happy. If there was any sign that Whitney might be in a romantic relationship with a woman, they feared people would stop buying her music. So, people around Whitney tried to hide the truth. They told her to act like she was dating men, and they kept Robyn in the background as just a friend. Fame is very stressful, and Whitney needed someone who loved her for who she really was, not just for her talent.
So having me there as a friend, I would often hear her say, I don't need any more friends.
Yes.
I mean, these are her words.
Robyn was that person. She helped Whitney stay strong during tough times. Whitney once said, I need someone that I know loves me for me. That someone was Robyn. Their bond was very close and deep, even if they didn't talk about it in public. Robyn was always with Whitney, at shows, interviews, and even at home. reporters and fans began asking questions. In the 1980s, especially in 1987, a big magazine wrote about the rumors that Whitney might be gay. Whitney got scared. She didn't want people to believe it. Her lawyer even called Robyn to ask directly, "Did you two ever have sexual relations?" Robyn didn't like the question and didn't answer clearly. When Whitney found out, she got angry. She shouted, "All you had to do was say no." Then she hung up the phone. That moment showed how much pressure Whitney was under to hide the truth. Robyn later wrote a book called A Song for You, My Life with Whitney Houston. In the book, she shared some private moments. She said Whitney once told her that if the record company found out about them, they would use it against them. That meant Whitney could lose everything: her music, her fans, her future. So they kept their relationship secret. Robyn didn't talk about it for years, even when reporters tried to get her to speak. She said that keeping the secret made her feel like she still had a part of Whitney that belonged only to them. It was her way of protecting their love.
When she said that she did not feel we should be physical any longer because it would only make our path more difficult, that if folks found out about it, that they would use it against us.
Another reason this story was so sensitive was because Whitney was a black woman. In those days, black women had to look perfect and behave properly. Being gay didn't fit that picture. People were quick to judge, and the criticism could be harsh. Whitney already faced pressure to be the perfect black woman. If she had come out as gay, or even been seen that way, it would have made her life even harder. So, the silence and secrecy continued.
I've got a lot of flack, about I sing too white, or I sing white or something like that,
After Whitney died, Robyn stayed quiet for a while. She wasn't sure if she should talk about their relationship. She remembered that day in 2012 when Whitney was found face down in a bathtub in a Beverly Hills hotel.
A member of Houston's entourage located her body inside this hotel. So far, police and the coroner are refusing to offer details about what may have caused her tragic death.
The coroner said she had drowned by accident, and drugs and heart disease played a part. Robyn felt confused and angry. She didn't know what to do or say. At that time, she was working as a personal trainer and had moved away from the music world. She had tried to let go of that life. Whitney's world felt far away, but her silence was starting to feel wrong. Then came the death of Whitney's daughter, Bobby Christina.
Well, breaking news this hour about the death of Whitney Houston's daughter. A medical examiner in Atlanta says Bobby Christina Brown's death was caused by drug intoxication and immersion in water.
Bobby Christina died in 2015 at just 22 years old. Like her mother, she was found unconscious in a bathtub. She was in a coma for months before passing away. This event hit Robyn hard. It brought back memories and feelings about Whitney. She began to feel the need to protect Whitney's name and legacy. She was tired of hearing negative things about her. Even at work, people would make jokes or ask silly questions about Whitney. Robyn felt pain and sadness every time someone brought it up casually. It wasn't a joke to her. It was her life, her friend, her love. She wanted to speak out, not only to defend Whitney, but also to honor the deep friendship they had. Robyn believed true friendship is rare and valuable. She would tell her kids not to use the word friend too loosely. A real friend is someone who stands by you for years, through good and bad times. That's what she had with Whitney. Their bond wasn't just friendship, it was love. They shared something special when they were young, but from the outside, their relationship seemed confusing. Sometimes it looked like Whitney had all the power. Robyn, who once worked at a car dealership, had trouble selling cars. But Whitney helped her. She walked into the dealership one day and bought a car from Robyn without even taking it for a test drive. That was her way of showing support. Whitney opened doors for Robyn, introducing her to fame, glamour, and travel. Still, Whitney could be difficult. She could be loving, but also harsh. Once, while they were on tour in London, Robyn went out on a date with one of the dancers. When Whitney found out they had kissed, she slapped Robyn. It was shocking. But then, she hugged her. That's how complicated their relationship was. Whitney later said she felt hurt and vulnerable. She said she slapped Robyn because she felt betrayed and wanted her to understand that. But she also wanted Robyn to know she still loved her. It was a mix of anger and deep emotion. Robyn believed Whitney was not really jealous like some people. Instead, she was possessive. She didn't want to share Robyn with anyone. She wanted Robyn to belong only to her. Robyn often accepted Whitney's bad behavior, even when it hurt her. Whitney was known to make anti-gay comments in public. That made things hard for Robyn, especially since people were always whispering about their relationship. It was hard for Robyn to deal with. She didn't like what Whitney said, but she stayed quiet to protect her. After Robyn left her job with Whitney, she got a job offer from Arista Records, but suddenly, the offer disappeared. She later found out that Whitney had told the boss not to hire her. That hurt Robyn deeply. She had always supported Whitney, even when it wasn't easy. And now, Whitney had blocked her from a new opportunity. Even after that, Robyn tried to protect Whitney's image. She would tell her wife that it wasn't really Whitney's fault. She believed Whitney wasn't thinking clearly and that the people around her were controlling her. But the pain stayed. One thing Robyn regrets deeply is a voicemail Whitney left her shortly before she died. Robyn heard the first part of the message, just Whitney saying her name softly, Robyn. But then she accidentally deleted it. She never got to hear the rest. That small moment meant a lot to her. She could hear something different in Whitney's voice, something soft and emotional. At the time, Whitney was planning another tour. Robyn was worried. She had heard that Whitney had just left rehab, and she didn't think she was strong enough to tour again. Robyn wished she had reached out. She wanted to see Whitney, but something always got in the way. Maybe they were both waiting for the other to make the first move. Robyn said Whitney had a lot of pride and didn't want to seem weak. She wasn't the kind of person to ask for help easily. Robyn believes it just wasn't meant to be. They never got that final talk or moment of peace, and that's something she has to live with. Grieving was hard for Robyn. She felt like her heart had dropped. She was filled with anger, sadness, and regret. She spoke with people who were at the hotel the night Whitney died, and what she heard made her even more upset. Writing the book was Robyn's way of healing. It was also her way of teaching her children about the dangers of drug use and the importance of staying away from gossip. She wanted to show people who Whitney really was, before the fame and troubles. Robyn wanted people to remember the fearless, joyful young woman she once knew. She remembered one day in 1983 when 19-year-old Whitney came to visit her. Whitney brought a Bible as a gift. They both wrote loving messages in it. One message said, "Love unconditional," and they signed their names. That message meant something real to Robyn. She wasn't ashamed of loving Whitney. It felt natural and right. Whitney loved her too, just as she was. Robyn didn't need to pretend to be someone else. That's what real love and friendship should be like.
She asked me to love her. If you love me unconditionally. And she was worth it.
Robyn smiles when she remembers those early days. Back then, they felt free. They didn't worry about what the world would think, but they weren't ready for everything that followed. The fame, the pressure, the gossip, and the pain, all of it changed their lives. In the end, Robyn wanted to tell the truth. Not to get attention, but to honor Whitney. To let people know about the woman behind the fame, and to show that their love was real. It wasn't wrong or shameful. It was just love. In a world that often hides stories like theirs, Robyn's words matter. She spoke up for herself, for Whitney, and for anyone who's been made to feel that their love doesn't count. Her story reminds us that even the biggest stars can have secret struggles, and it shows how important it is to tell the truth, no matter how long it takes.